Is it like Jim Jones status, or is it like Scientology? Right! They feed you with food and feed you into the cult. She's been there for 20 years.
So how did I end up in a cult?
Personally, I blame my ex-boyfriend. So we were together and he said that in order for us to get engaged, stupid, I needed a better job so that I could afford to get us a house. I was working at a marketing position with nothing but sales guys. And when I tell you working with sales guys is the worst, it's the worst. I would go to a doctor's appointment and they would be like,
"Is it pink or blue?"
Like every time. They thought that they were so freaking funny. So I was Googling and I found this job at a nonprofit. It was in the Valley. Mind you, I lived in San Gabriel Valley, so the commute would be like an hour and a half a day. So the person interviewing me, I thought that she was going to be my boss. And so she's telling me about the position and kind of what's needed. And essentially I would be doing basically everything communications wise, plus web development, plus rebranding, you know, typical stuff that you would do at a nonprofit. Find out I get the job. She calls me in for training. And that's when she kind of laid it out for me. She said,
"Don't be alarmed, but essentially, the leader, the CEO, and a few people in this department are kind of a part of a cult. We call them the Woo Crew."
Is it like Jim Jones status, or is it like Scientology, like what, you know, because there's different types of cults. And so she kind of like broke it down. I Googled it, I went on Cult Watch, I think it's Cult Watch, and it'll tell you like why they were flagged. And essentially that cult back in the day, you know, had been flagged as a cult and it kind of rebranded. And a few people from that started this nonprofit, which was supposed to help high school students and middle school. And what they were doing was really good for the community. I mean, they were providing classes, things that students in the community really needed. And I felt like I could do the job because I was desperate.
And nothing can go wrong. Oh no, it all went wrong.
You know, I started to notice is that we would do like these group meetings and they would bring in consultants. And some of the consultants were like doing branding and they were part of the Woo Crew. And then they would always say,
"We're gonna do a quick meditation. And we're going to ask for light and to guide our day."
Light! Give me light! Oh, give me energy! Light! And that was just one of the few weird things that would happen. So I decided to do some research for this video, and what I found was shocking.
so in terms of the cult, so my boss and his wife were, okay, so my boss was like second in line at the cult, okay, and his wife like was pretty high up, and then they said that they like stepped down and that they were no longer doing these seminars, but they were doing these seminars. I literally know that they were putting together these seminars for students, getting these scholarships and feeding them into it. It was wild. Literally an article from 1999 talking about it, and they were still doing it, and this was like probably 2017, 2018. So not only that, but these schools that were implementing it, it was recommended by superintendents, and it found that we're also a part of the cult. So like it literally ranged so far. There were so many different portions that were a part of this. They were like literally just feeding into the cult, and I'm pretty sure they're still around today. And then this person was making himself out to be an expert in the education field with this idea that he came up with, feeding back into the cult. So I found out one of the ways that they like pull you into the actual like cult area is that they have this campus, and the campus was beautiful because we did events there sometimes, and you can go there for an $8 organic lunch. And basically you just pay $8, you get organic food, and then that's how they feed you into the cult. They feed you with food and feed you into the cult. Also, like, people are just like really nice, like scarily nice. except for my boss. He was a dick. What they did is that they would have these like seminars, and what I hated is that they would give out these scholarships to students, and the scholarship would lead to them being a part of these like seminars, which would like introduce them to the program. Also, allegedly, the original founder believed in polygamy and was allowing that to happen. Allegedly. So yeah, there's been articles about them and how like people, because they do like meditation retreats, they get like $8 lunches and like their sound baths, and there's like an article, and I was reading, and this like person had only planned to be there for 3-4 months, and she's been there for 20 years. It was fun to kind of like joke around with my coworkers about like the woo crew and everything that they were doing. But the reason why I quit is because the person who was really high up in the cult was a dick. He was so mean. For somebody that's supposed to be in a cult that's about meditation and light and love, he was a dictator. He literally was a short, bald man who was a dictator. He would come into my office and be like,
I saw the newsletter, and you know, I told you to take photos of the students while they're studying, but they're not smiling. We only want to promote people smiling. Don't you want to only promote people smiling? Gotta do better.
he would like mark up everything on the newsletter, and he would be like, it's not cheerful enough.
And it's like, the student is literally living in their car. I don't know how to make this like a cheerful story.
Everything was my fault. He would go on tirades. So he would just like yell at me, and I would go home crying. HR was literally like,
I can't do anything. He doesn't even listen to me.
yeah, it was just like a really traumatic time in my life. I was crying every single day, and I couldn't get out. And after 8 months of that baloney, I quit. But apparently he is still a part of the cult. Thanks again for watching, guys. I'm gonna do more story times on my channel, because when I tell you I have so many story times, if you think that this story was crazy, just wait.